Hey everyone, you're listening to Ankur Warikoo on Voice with Warikoo. On this podcast, I talk to you about entrepreneurship, how to grow in life, manage personal finances, handle failures, and a lot more things that just come to my mind. The episode begins. This episode will be about hurt, and I want to describe my relationship with hurt and how I think about hurt through an example that happened recently. This is a real life example, a true story about someone who wrote into me. And she experienced something that was very hurtful in her recent past, and she was seeking help. And we had a back and forth over emails. And it was fascinating how the end result of that was so very different from what she had started with. So, backstory, let's call this person X. And this person is basically working in a company and has been doing well. And she said that one day, one of the girls in my team, she came up to me, showed me the middle finger in front of two other girls without any reason. And she says that she wasn't talking or discussing anything with her that day, but out of nowhere, she did that action, which hurt my self respect and sentiments to a great extent. And then the girl ran away from that place when this girl X tried to ask what she had done. And she's like, no, I don't need to give you an answer. So X thought that she should report this to HR and make it formal, which I thought was a smart thing to do because you would want to report such a thing. So after one follow-up, my HR said that, hey, you're right. One of these three girls who were around that incident witnessed this incident. And then I asked the HR to take some action. And then X waited for 3 long months and nothing happens. So this became more and more frustrating for her. And one fine day, X went up to her boss and said, hey, why don't you follow up with the HR to just figure out what happened? And the boss was like, sure, I'll do that. And again, nothing happened. So then finally, X, this girl in question, she wrote an email looping in her boss, the organization's director, sending an email to HR expressing her disappointment about the entire process. And frankly, just making sure that everyone's attention was gathered. So the HR instantly felt bad. They went on a defensive and they were like, hey, why did you have to do this? And this was not right, blah, 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 blah. And then the boss was like, hey, why did you have to do this? This wasn't right, blah, 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 blah. And she felt very cornered. So she actually resigned from the company. And then the HR called her that day and she was like, and the HR was like, hey, why don't you withdraw your resignation? And X was like, I'll only withdraw it if an apology comes in from the girl who did this thing, because this act of hers was just not right. But nothing happened. So X's question was to me, am I being oversensitive, over emotional? What should I have done? And my first question to her was, who do you think was most hurt in this entire process? So X replied, it was me. I was hurt the most. I says, great. Then my follow-up question was, what were you hurt by? Were you hurt about what the girl did to you? Were you hurt about the fact that the others did not listen to you as much as you wanted them to? Or were you hurt about the fact that that girl wasn't punished because of her act? And then X replied, I was hurt that my boss did not stand up for me when I resigned. He was convincing me verbally for staying, but wasn't expressing anything over email to me or HR. And then the management did not put any efforts to resolve the things even after I resigned. I was performing well and still they're letting me go over a matter that could have been solved with all of us sitting together. So my follow-up question was, you weren't hurt by what she did as much as you were hurt that your boss did not do anything. And she was like, yes. Then my follow-up question was, why do you think your manager's indifference hurt you so much? And then she was like, because I worked hard to achieve the desired results, meet their expectations. I was always on my toes. Who else would support the team if not the boss? When I needed him, he did not come in. When he needed me, he asked me to be always there. I'm still on my notice period. Instead of 60 days, I am serving a 100-day notice period. Da, 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 da. All of which are, by the way, valid points. None of these are incorrect. None of these are invalid. They are valid, absolutely truthful points. But then my question to X was, do you want to hear the truth? Which you may not be prepared to hear, but I think you will benefit from hearing it. And I completely understand if you do not want to, because frankly, my opinion does not matter in all of this. You just reached out to me, and that's why I'm offering it. And she was very gracious and said, my sole purpose of writing to you was to know your thoughts. So I'd love to hear what you had to say. And this is what I replied. I said, hey, X, here is my version of the truth. You were not treated well by your colleague. What you did was inappropriate, 100%. However, in life, you cannot control what people do to you. You can only control how you react. And your reaction was that of a victim. You did the right thing by reporting the incident. That was the right thing to do, absolutely. However, you began to feed your victim mindset with everything that made you feel even more of a victim. Your boss did not support you, you're the victim. Your HR did not act favorably, you're the victim. Your resignation was accepted, you're the victim. So suddenly, your mind was telling you that you're the center of the universe and everyone woke up every morning wanting to screw up your life. But that's not the truth. You're not the center of the universe. No one wakes up wanting to hurt your life. They're just busy managing their own life. So every day you feed yourself the drug that the world is against you, and you feel more and more victimized, which gives you an excuse to be angry, an excuse to resign, an excuse to be disappointed. So today, unfortunately, the only person who's truly hurt is you. And then I quoted Buddha, where he said, holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. But it's you who's getting burnt. So here's the alternate version X. Your colleague showed you the middle finger because she was mad at someone else. Maybe she was mad at her own life. Her frustration was not at you, it was towards something affecting her. She just took it out on you. Forgive her. If you choose to, you would not feel like the victim. There would suddenly be no one against you, and you would be at peace with yourself. This is not about toxic positivity, because it can be easily misconstrued as that. I'm basically asking someone to say, hey, cheer up. Nothing's wrong with your life. Why don't you just think of positive things and move on? This is about recognizing that when we are hurt, that hurt largely and often is self-inflicted. It isn't hurt that had actually been caused by the other person. It is the hurt that we play back in our minds every single second on an infinite loop, where the event that hurt us happened only once, but in our mind, we hurt us every single time we play that loop. And if we were to fall in that trap, it is important to recognize that we're doing so because feeling like a victim is comforting. It makes us believe that there is someone who's against us and the fight is against that person, when in reality, the fight is against your own thoughts, your own mind. So please feel hurt. Feel hurt as much as you would want to, for a second, for an hour, for a day, for a week. But let that hurt not become a permanent fixture in your life. Remember that the best thing you can do is to forgive someone without seeking an apology or waiting for it, because that frees you. What the person had to do has already been done. But what you need to do for yourself is to watch out for yourself. And if you do that, you will be the best version of who you can be. All the best. Thank you for listening to this episode of Woice with Warikoo. To be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to subscribe and follow the show on this app right now. Also, don't forget to rate and review the show, because that just feels nice. Thank you.